Good afternoon. We're learning the laws of Sefirah. We're in Siman Tuf Tzadi Gimel, Sif Gimel, 493-3. And today we're going to talk about the different customs of Sefirah. Which half do you keep, the first half or the second half? We'll talk about the various practices when it comes to this. And yesterday and the day before, we talked about the prohibitions of Sefirah, such as getting married, shaving, or cutting one's hair. And the reason is because we are in mourning for the death of Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students. So let's read Gimel. Yesh nogim listaper b'rosh chodesh iyar v'tosu biyadam. There are those, says the Mechaber, that have the custom to cut their hair on Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and that is a mistake. Says the Ramah, Miu b'harbe makomos nogim lihistaper ad Rosh Chodesh Iyar. In many places, they have the custom to cut their hair until Rosh Chodesh Iyar. V'osan lo yisapru melag ba'omer v'elech. When those people who cut their hair until Rosh Chodesh Iyar, they cannot cut their hair after Lag BaOmer unless it's Lag BaOmer itself. So there's two customs that the Ramah is stating. The Shulchan Aruch said one, and the Ramah said the other. According to the Shulchan Aruch, the custom is that you keep Sefirah until Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the Omer, which is this Friday. That's what we call colloquially as the first half. The second half is from Rosh Chodesh Iyar, right? Pesach is on the 15th of Nisan. So until Rosh Chodesh Iyar, which is the next month, the beginning of the next month after Pesach, you don't observe any of the customs of mourning of Sefirah, and start Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and then you go until Shavuos, and we'll talk maybe some details about that. And there's a day you have off. The day off is Lag BaOmer. Everybody holds. Right, on Lag BaOmer, even according to this opinion, you can cut your hair. Remember, yesterday there was a distinction that the Mechaber held that you shouldn't cut your hair until the 34th day of the Omer, which is if you keep what we call the first half. So again, the first half is from the beginning of Sefirah until Lag BaOmer. The second half is from about Rosh Chodesh Iyar until Shavuos. And we're going to talk about some details about that. So we have approximately two customs so far. In those places where they have the custom to shave from Lag BaOmer and on, they shouldn't shave at all from after Pesach, like we said. You shouldn't have two customs in one city where you have some people keeping the first half and some people keeping the second half because of Losis Godedu. Losis Godedu, the Gemara learns out that you shouldn't have different groups of Jews in one place having different practices, because we want everyone to be one group. Now, practically nowadays, this really doesn't apply so much because we all came from different cities. We all came to the United States from at least the Menalef, and most of us came from Europe. Other people came from Iran. Other people came from Yemen, Morocco, Spain, wherever it was, Israel. And everyone has different customs that they're bringing to the area. So since there's not really a cohesive unit and everyone has different customs anyway, we don't really worry about this so much. Where it does come up, actually regarding Sefirah, comes up on Yeshiva Lane. It's like a close-knit community. It's like a self-contained community. Yeshiva Lane in Baltimore, where I went to Yeshiva, so there everybody, it's like one community, and really, like on Shabbos, there's not much interaction with the outside Baltimore community. So there, actually, everyone is supposed to keep the second half of Sefirah because of this reason of Losis Godedu. You don't have the two groups of people in this self-contained community having different customs. This also comes up regarding, we all know, tefillin on Chol HaMoed. Some people have the custom to wear tefillin. Some people have the custom not to wear tefillin on Chol HaMoed. So what we do is, you have the tefillin people on one side of the mechitza and the non-tefillin people on the other side of the mechitza to avoid issues of Losis Godedu. Okay. But like I said, in most situations, this really doesn't apply because we're not really like separate communities anymore, and we all have different customs anyway. So we have the two customs of Sefirah, and a person should not be lenient like both, right? You can't say, I'm going to hold like the second half at the beginning, and then you go to Rosh Chodesh Iyar and you're shaving and listening to music and everything, and then after Lag BaOmer, you're like, I'm going to keep the first half now, and you just kept like a couple days in the middle. That's not how you should do it. Okay, let's read the Mishnah Berurah. Yesh noagim v'tosu biyadam avar b'ktsar. So the Mishnah Berurah is going to explain these customs. The l'kol yama noagim iser 33 days. There, everyone holds the amount of you need at least 33 days to keep the days of Sefirah. But there's different customs. Each one has a reason for its custom. You can look in the Beralacha for the reasons. Some people start from the second day of Pesach until the 33rd day of the Yomer, which is Friday. And from that day on until Shavuos, they did not accept upon themselves any prohibition. But until Lag BaOmer, those first 33 days, no exceptions. Got to keep it all. So some people, they don't keep the first 16 days. The Hainu ad Yom Sheni shel Rosh Chodesh Iyar, they start keeping Sefirah the second day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. And then from there until Shehu Lamed Gimel Yomim. So if you start from the second day of Rosh Chodesh until Shavuos, that's also 33 days. Ein matir and shum yom. You don't allow any other day except for Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer is the exception. So even though you're keeping from Rosh Chodesh Iyar, so even the people that keep the second half this Friday Lag BaOmer, they can shave and listen to music and whatnot. It's like a 1 day break. And anyone who's being lenient on both ends, right? You're only starting in Rosh Chodesh and then you end at Lag BaOmer. That is a mistake. Now he says in our countries, we cut our hair and get married on the 3 days of Hagbala. What are the 3 days of Hagbala? There are 3 days of preparation for Shavuos. The Jewish people, before they got the Torah, they took 3 days to prepare for the holiday. Those are called the Shlosha Shemei Hagbala. So he says in our locales, the custom is to stop, if you keep the second half, where they kept the second half of Sefirah, is to stop keeping the customs of mourning the 3 days before Shavuos. So they didn't go until Shavuos, they went only until until 3 days before Shavuos. Ta'amrina Mikzas Yom Kikulo. Because we say part of the day is like the whole day, so that's why in the first day of Hagbala you don't have to keep it. The imkein lamed gimel yamim shana noagim avelos vuram. Oh, I skipped the line. Sorry. Alkein masik amagan avram the sarach lizar shel alisa listaper b'shnei yamim shorosh chodesh iyar. So he says that if you do not observe the customs of mourning on the 3 days of preparation for Shavuos, 3 days before Shavuos, then you should keep the days of mourning on the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. So the custom there that they had for the second half was the 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, keep the customs of mourning, and if you do that, you can stop the mourning period 3 days before Shavuos. Okay, read that. Because of Vilna says the Chai Adam writes that this was the custom in Vilna, the custom that we just described. They would keep Sefirah until they would start Sefirah the first day of Rosh Chodesh, and they would go until 3 days before Shavuos. Except for Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer was the day off. There are some days where they keep the entire Sefirah, and they're just lenient on Rosh Chodesh. On Lag BaOmer and Rosh Chodesh Sivan until Shavuos. And he says each person, they should go after the custom of the place where they find themselves. And like we said, nowadays really each city, like back in the day, you see like Vilna had a certain custom, like the whole city of Vilna, kept that custom. So it seems if you would go to Vilna and had a different custom, you would have to do what they do. But there's no like custom of Manalapan, there's no custom of Lakewood, no custom of New York. So really everyone kind of does whatever their personal custom is. Mikzas minig zeh, Ritzalaymer shemikzas b'nei Adam Yinagabo mikzas yinag. It's read heter b'shneim dahainu shinag heter ad Rosh Chodesh Iyar ksvar acharnim v'gam yinag heter melag ba'omer ve'elach ad atzeres ksvar rishona kemen shtei kulos elos osrim z'lezu canal. This is what we said this already. Aval yachal litvos chumra sam minhagim. He says if you want, you can keep the stringencies of both minhagim. Meaning you can keep the whole Sefirah if you want. Keep the customs of mourning. Dahainu shinag iser b'pesach ad erev Shavuos. You can keep Sefirah if you want from Pesach until Shavuos. Oad Yom Rishon Shel Lag BaOmer to the first day of the 3 days of preparation, except for Lag BaOmer. Now, even though you're keeping two stringencies that really contradict each other, sometimes people keep stringencies which have no basis. So he says, don't think, if you want to be stringent, there is a basis to keep that stringency. But so don't think that you're foolish if you want to be super stringent here. Because you're doing it because of Suffolk, you're not sure what the real days of Sefirah are. You don't know which is the real custom, the main custom. We call makom and tzarich lasisken. You don't have to do this. You don't have to keep the whole Sefirah. So you can pick whatever custom. You can pick the custom that you want. You don't have to be afraid that maybe you're doing a custom that is not like the custom of your city. Since it's only a custom, you don't have to be stringent when there's doubt. But if you know there's a custom of your city, then you should go after that custom, whether it is lenient or whether it is stringent. So just to conclude, there are really two main customs of when to keep the mourning period of Sefirah, but really there are more than that. The main customs are, one is from the beginning, from the second day of Pesach until Lag BaOmer, which is this Friday. The other is to start from the first day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar and then go until 3 days before Shavuos, and you have a break on Lag BaOmer, and that's what we call the first half and the second half. Just finish in time as the lawnmower guys are here. Have a great day.